inside my eyes and tell me you see a warrior. I never felt the feeling of euphoria. Pain forever prolonged, the pros and cons of prosperity is strong. Wake up in the morning and I gotta win. Not taking the victory is my only sin. And so I send a message to your messenger, a warning shot to let him know I'm serious. I'm ready for a war. When I roar, it can break a glass window. The only thing for sure is the perfect way to bend you on your back. Even if I gotta slither through the cracks, I can crack every code you deliver. I attack every hole with a bomb squad. Sit it on a tripod. Even if he tried hard, he can still die hard. Run, but you can't hide. White flags, you can pull them out fast and tell me your last goodbye.
I will climb the highest mountain before the flood comes, and all my fight is drowning in blood. What I gotta lose, what I gotta prove, I guess war is my love.
I've been on the ketone kick this build. I'm excited to try it. This is the peach. I got a care package, but I bought a lot too, so. All right, I'll see you in 3 miles. We are 1 week out from the New York City Marathon. It is officially taper time. Have been feeling really good the last several weeks. Since the last video, I've paced the Chicago Marathon. I've, put together a few of my last key sessions heading into the race, including, my signature simulation run / final touch that I've done for my last few marathons, which is a 15-mile tempo run at marathon effort. We went down to Camp Verde for that workout. It went really well. It's always one of those where it kind of gives you a true reflection of where you're at fitness-wise, because it's long enough where you can't hide from it, and you have to be honest with yourself on if you're running that pace that you think you can sustain for another 10 plus miles of work. So it went really well. It was the fastest I'd ever done that exact workout, and I actually, looking back, I did the exact same session the exact same time away from Seville, so before my 2:08:01, and this time I ran same course, same conditions, relatively similar setup, and I ran just over 2 seconds per mile faster. So that's a huge sign to me, and I felt better doing it, which, that's the most important thing. You can always go into workouts and maybe force things a bit and find a way to squeeze unnecessary time out of workouts just to increase your confidence, but this was one of those where I was working within the framework of what my body was giving me. But my point is that, by all metrics, I'm in good shape. This is gonna be a pretty exciting opportunity to close out a very fun year, a year where I started this YouTube channel, and we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of our first video here, and it only feels right that, I close out the year, my racing season at the New York City Marathon, a race that's been on my bucket list for years, and being in what I think is the best shape of my life going into it, which is very exciting. Okay, that sounds good to me.
And no promises on how I fucking bike.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go, Roy.
There's been a lot of highs and lows this year with races and with life, and whenever that's the case, you're always riding the waves, and the Olympics wasn't exactly what I wanted, but getting there was a dream come true. Came off of it motivated, healthy, and ready to stack some big weeks, and I've been able to do that. And yeah, I'm just excited about where I'm at and what I've been able to do. Working with my new coach, John Green, over the last 2 months, feels like we've really found a good rhythm. We found the ability to work really well together with things that I've always liked to do, like this 15-mile threshold work before a race, and hitting some speed to give me that confidence that, hey, I've got this range of abilities, and then also incorporating some new stuff like the double threshold that I had never done before that I started doing under him. Tomorrow I'll do 7 to 8 by K, 4 to 6 by 400. The Ks being just thresholdy, just short, sweet, smooth, and then the 400s just turning things on, firing, kind of hitting multi-purpose zones, similar to things I've done in the past, a little tweak different. you know, everybody does whatever makes them feel good before a marathon. It's not really, you know, fitness boosting, it's more like system priming, and I feel like it's not that important what you do so much as it gives you confidence and it freshens you up for the race. So this seems like the appropriate step for me, and I'm excited to, you know, spin the wheels one last time before shipping off to New York City.
Got a little warm?
Yeah, it feels good.
Feels nice.
Only the JetBlue leg from Phoenix to New York. Flying coach to flag from, there's no first class on those flights.
There is technically.
Yeah, but it's like,
it's not much.
So lame. It's like, if you pay for an upgrade on that flight, it's like, what are you doing?
It's alcohol. You do get alcohol on it.
Okay.
So you're paying for a free drink. That's
Like $50 for a free drink though?
yeah, but you gotta fucking chug it.
Yeah.
15-minute flight.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Green. I coach Verde Track Club and Rory Linkletter here, and we're heading into New York City weekend. Excited to rip it. Rory's had some really good training. Yeah, coming off the Olympics, ready to rock and roll, and just yeah, get out there, crush it. Really, obviously New York City is a championship style racing. Can be fast as well, of course, but we're ready for all conditions and ready to get out there and rip it and have a fun time in the Big Apple.
Alright, so first morning in New York, got in late last night. About to go run parts of the course. Probably the last 4 miles. Gonna run from my hotel. Well, we're in New York City now. Got some crazy guy yelling on the side of the road. Anyways, gonna run from my hotel in Midtown over to Central Park, head down 5th Ave for a few miles, and then run back up the way the course runs, which is along 5th Ave alongside Central Park, and into the park and into the finish line area. This is that incline. It's just gradual, but at the end of a marathon, stuff can bite, so definitely got to have some fight in your legs, otherwise pace is going straight backwards. Running in reverse direction of the course on 5th Ave, because they say the climb up 5th Ave is the most brutal, because at the tail end it's long, gradual, and nobody talks about it as being a hill because it's not necessarily super uphill, but I just want to see it. There's the finish. There she is. See you Sunday. All right, today's Thursday before the New York City Marathon. I'm about to go head out to Central Park for my last tune-up workout. I'm going to do 2-mile tempo and some 200s just to prime up the system. I was woken up a little earlier than planned this morning with a little USADA knocking at my door, a little safe sport, clean sport initiative here. So got drug tested here in New York, which I'm honored to be drug tested because A, I'm a proponent of keeping the sport clean, and B, it means I'm doing something right. If they're testing me, it means I'm fast enough for them to think that there's a chance I could be cheating. So yeah, got an early morning wake-up call, scared the crap out of me, someone pounding on my door at 7 a.m. But yeah, I got that done, ate some breakfast. Now we're gonna hit Central Park for the last little workout. anyways, it's been really fun. I'm in a really good place with my body, with my mind, and I'm looking to race the New York City Marathon. The willingness to take more risks and be more aggressive than I've ever been in a big race like this. So if you remember my reflection on the Olympic marathon, one of my biggest takeaways was that, you know, I trained and raced with like this expectation that I was going to outsmart other people and be more conservative. This time I'm going to lean on my fitness and my experience and be as aggressive as I can be. And so I'm going to take a big swing, hopefully, and be able to reach some goals that I've had for myself for a really long time. One of those, you know, is just being in the top 8 at a world marathon major, adding that, you know, chip to the resume, and it'll be a really good field and good opportunity to try to do that in New York.
Yeah, feeling good. Had a lot of runs in Central Park this week. I'll know these last few miles like the back of my hand, but body feels fairly good. You know, there's always the pre-race, pre-marathon, like over-analyzing taper tantrum where you're like, oh, is that tight? Is that tight? But for the most part, everything feels really good, firing well, and I think I'm ready for something fun. So looking forward to competing super hard and closing off 2024 and this year with a bang in the Big Apple. Okay, so similar protocol to the Olympics we'll have here, similar to most majors and big city marathons. The elite athletes get fluids every 5K. I alternate my fluids between liquid carbs and gel-based fueling. So, and I kind of just do that at random a little bit. I usually like to front load the gels just because they're easier to take down earlier in the race and it's easier to sip things late. So I will probably go gel and water, 5K. Oop, no calf there. Carb drink at 10. Caffeinated gel and water at 15K. Carb drink at 20K. Gel, non-calf, and water. No, let's switch that actually. Don't overthink it. Okay, gel, non-calf, and water there. Carb drink, calf gel at 35K. That hopefully will kick in, 10 minutes after I take it and give me that last little kick for the last 5K of the race. And then the last bottle, I rarely grab my last bottle because at that point, you've got 2K to go, 7 minutes running. That's probably not changing your race from a fueling standpoint. So the most important bottles start at the beginning, and I wouldn't say that they decrease in value later, but the last one is pretty inconsequential. So depending on how aggressively I'm racing and what mindset I'm in, I may or may not even grab that, but that'll have some carbs in it too. I'm using Never Second. That's what I've used for my last 4 marathons. We have 8 bottles, and I'm going to put 250 milliliters of fluid in each one. Again, water in half and carb in the other half. I will have a total of on course, 30 grams, 30 grams, 30 grams, 30 grams, that's 120. 300 grams of carbohydrates available. Now, I will not drink 300 grams of carbohydrates in the race. I will not consume that much. I'll probably consume closer to 200, and most of that will be in gel form. When I get the drinks, I'm more of a sipper. I'm not trying to finish the bottle. I just try to get what feels appropriate. I usually like to do 3, maybe 4 big gulps, and it's not a perfect science, but I know I'm getting, if I do all my gels and if I consume 50% of this, then I'm getting around 200 grams of carbohydrates in a just over 2-hour race. So I'm averaging probably 90 if I can accomplish that, but I give myself an abundance so that I'm on the higher end of things, and if I'm a little short on something, miss a bottle, gel doesn't go down smooth, I'm fine. I'm not panicking because I needed exactly that. So my stomach seems to be pretty resilient these days, so I do err on the side of more is more with fueling.
If you'd like, over there. Do you know your bib number?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, what's your first name?
Rory.
And then give me one second, which guy on this side.
I should know.
It's right here.
Right, you are bib number 12.
12. It's a great number.
It's an amazing number.
Tom Brady.
It's a fantastic.
You know, he's not a popular guy here in town. But how these bottles get on course is I take them here in a few hours. It's noon the day before the race. I have to drop them off before 3 o'clock, and they have like all these coolers in a room basically. Each of those coolers, they put your bottle in like based on where it wants to be on the course. So like there's a 5K cooler, a 10K cooler, a 15K cooler, and a volunteer in the morning of or whatnot is responsible for getting everybody's bottle to their tables. We all have like a table position and a table number. So as we run by the tables, there's maybe 15, 20 tables at a race like this. You'll remember, I'm table 3, position 2, so it means I'm the second bottle on table 3. And so you see the signs, they're big, they try to make it so you can't screw it up. But yeah, we had wonderful volunteers and race staff that make sure that we get our fueling on course.
Excited to get to Staten Island and get this thing started. This is like the least favorite part, I would say, just the wait. Let's get this thing going. So, but I don't know, I've gone through a number of nerves before, during the last few days, and I think those are all just part of the process. So just trying to have really clear thoughts and enjoy this moment.
Yeah, hey, I work hard every motherfucking day, I work hard every day, but today is my day, it's my day, and no matter what they say, it's my day, la 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 la, yeah. Roll up to the spot, feeling real good. Think you gon' talk shit, you better not, my homies real hood. They say, Logic, why you do that? I don't know. Yeah, they used to be like, who that? I don't know. Now they know my name wherever I go. Used to think that's what I wanted, but now just don't know. No, I can't fuck with that, nuck if you bucking back. Yeah, I've been working, but I ain't got nothing back. Tell me the daily now, hold up, wait, really now. All of that shit you been talking just silly now. It's as quick as you rise, just as quick as you could fall. Oh no, I can't fuck with that at all. Can't fuck with that at all. I work hard every motherfucking day,
I was just brutally zonked. How long you managed it?
First off, holy shit, that was a hard marathon. New York City was everything I expected it to be and more as far as the crowd support and the atmosphere and the competition. Quick rapid highlights. I ran 2:11:45 for 15th place. That's the fastest time by a Canadian ever at the New York City Marathon, and a time that any other year would have been top 10, but you know, the world keeps getting faster. This was a great field. I think I ran like 20-ish, 21-ish miles of like game plan executed, and then I held it together pretty well, but the last 5-6 miles were an absolute grind. You know, one of the highlights of the race was, if you watched live, you got to see me lead for a couple times in the first 14-ish miles. I was with the lead group through the Queensboro Bridge, which is like an iconic part where basically that's where they say the race starts for the New York City Marathon, one of the hardest parts of the course. And yeah, I was basically running the race I thought I was going to run up until just after first Ave heading into the Bronx. So anyways, we come off the Queensboro Bridge, and this is where the race kind of begins in my mind. And I had a string of people. Big move was made by the top guys, and a string of people in front of me. I could see Clayton Young still, I could see Connor Mance still, I could see Bashir Abdi, CJ Albertson, all these people. And I start to really push here, miles 16 through 18. I'm just on attack mode, and I run the fastest 2-mile split of the race. I was taking 2-mile splits throughout the race, and I was running the fastest I'd run all race into a headwind with some rolling hills. Crowd was electric, and I was like, oh, if I can keep this up, like, I'm really going to start to eat people up here. And I really did feel really strong at that point. I think in hindsight, I probably could have dialed the intensity and focus back 5-10%, maybe preserved the last couple miles. But at that moment in time, you know, eyes up the road with my goal of like really seeing what I could do against this field, I think I was the right amount of aggressive, because that was kind of one of my key takeaways after Paris was I wanted to be on the aggressive side, because I felt like I was passive in that race, and live and learn kind of thing where I'm just trying to do a little bit more and learn a bit more and try different things in marathons and see how my body responds. So that was the hardest I've ever gone in that middle section of the race. I negative split a really hard marathon that is known for its back half being substantially harder, and I got to touch the lead. I got to compete with guys that I admire and want to compete with. Like I said, just a few miles short of like really nailing it. I was with CJ, Frank, Lara, and a guy named Johnny Mellor from the GB at like mile 21, 22, and they put about 5-6 seconds on me in the next couple miles, and that group produced the 10th place finisher. And I think top 10 was like one of my A goals for this race. So top 8 was like a arbitrary A goal as well, just because it would have been really cool to finish that high. But you know, if I'm in that race and just barely losing ground in the last few miles, the marathon's a very big experience. It's a long, chunky race, and if I'm splitting hairs about, oh man, I didn't quite have it there, it's something I can go back to the drawing board with and see where I can improve. But basically my body was tightening up on me the whole last 5 miles, and I think I really saw like the darkest side of the marathon today, and all the cool stuff of like a world marathon major, and I'm really proud of it. 3rd fastest time of my life on a really hard course. This is my 10th marathon, so to run the 3rd fastest time of my life, cap off this year where I ran 3 marathons, had to do this on a little bit of a different approach coming off the Olympics. I'm really proud of everything that came together here today.
Yeah, no, Rory and Jessa raced today. I had some amateurs who raced as well. They all did well. Specifically, Rory and Jessa, I think it was a very good day for them. I don't think it was easy by any means. New York City is never an easy course. Yeah, I think they both executed the race plan really well. Yeah, we're out there battling. I think that's kind of the big thing we talked about, which was, over the final 10K is really just working on battling the battles around you and always looking forward. People tend to come backwards during Central Park and on Fifth Ave, and I think that's, capitalizing on that and really trying to press forward. And yeah, Rory crushed it today as well as Jessa. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, no, I definitely think the workouts went well going into New York. Obviously, Rory was coming off the Olympics, and that's a quick turnaround. And so, me and him have to discuss this of like, how did he feel and stuff like that, and whether that played a factor or not. But yeah, I thought it was a very good day. Like, we'll kind of debrief and talk about, what went right, what went wrong. This is our first build together, and so hopefully have many more. And so with that being said is, the goal is to always learn and improve. And I think if you're not changing things, you're going to be stagnant. And so we always want to know, like, okay, how do we improve or tweak things and get better? Because that's what leads to better results. So as we break down the race and see how he's feeling, kind of moment by moment, right? Like, big question is like, what do we think of the taper? This was double T for him for the first time, and so that was, or like more traditional double T, and so that was the first time we've done that. Is there any way we can improve on that or stuff like that? And so that's the big thing that we're going to work on, and just making sure we're on the same page of how to get better, right? And that's how I coach. I coach from a collaboration standpoint of, I want to hear his thoughts, and that will then spark thoughts from me and stuff like that, basically.
Yeah, I touched the lead 3 times. I did really early, like first 5K, and then again at like 5-6 miles, and then again at like 13-14, somewhere around there. No, 12, 13, maybe 13, 14, somewhere around half marathon. I can't remember if it was the mile before, the mile after. That was electric. I mean, that was the most fun I've ever had in a race like that. It's like, I kind of wanted to just like stay in that group as long as I could to see how many times I could do it and how late in the race I could do it. But the race really kicked up a notch. Like I ran a 2-mile stretch, 16 to 18 in 9:34 and was getting dropped. So those guys were probably running sub 440s. 435 to 440 probably, because I was running low 440s and they were gone. So I was just taking splits every 2 miles. After 4, I was just taking 2-mile splits just to kind of check in on what we were doing. And yeah, that was my fastest 2-mile split of the race, was 16 to 18, and that's when I was dropped. So if you're running your fastest split of the race and still getting left behind, that's just how you know moves are being made. Another cool thing about this weekend was this week was the release of the COROS Pace Pro, their fastest watch yet. COROS has been working with me now for the last several months leading into the New York City Marathon, and so I got to test run this watch, one of the first people to use it, and I wore it on course today and wore their armband heart rate monitor, so I've got some really cool data I'm going to run through with y'all. This was my 3rd marathon wearing the COROS heart rate monitor, and so I think it's very interesting to see one way to measure how much you're going into the well in a marathon and what a marathon's demands are is looking at your heart rate data. I ran my highest heart rate ever in a marathon today, 175, which is pretty much like what I can get my heart rate up to in a VO2 max session on the track these days. So that's telling me that I went pretty deep into the well. My average heart rate was about the same still though as Seville, so that's just probably a matter of the hills on the course really beating me down. Elevation gain, 335 meters, so that's more than it's advertised on the course by a little bit, but it definitely feels hilly out there. It was nice to use this watch to manually split anytime you're running in a big city marathon, I tell my athletes I coach to use manual split mode just because GPS data is harder to rely on in the city. But that being said, GPS data was pretty dang close today. 42.2K race through one of the biggest cities in the world with the biggest buildings, pinging off everything. I got 42.6K, so within 400 meters of an accurate reading, and throughout the course I was able to take, like I said, in earlier 2-mile splits. Let's see, I did the first 4 miles in 20:35, then next 2 9:51, next 2 10:03, next 2 9:49, 9:47, 9:53, 10:03, and then here's the one on First Ave, the fastest one on the course, 9:36. Then 10:04, 10:05, here's the one up Fifth Ave, the hardest part of the course, 10:27, that's 22 to 24. And then I took mile splits for the last 2, 5:10, 5:09, that's me holding on for dear life. And then my last 380 meters-ish was 1:14. So I was able to go to a pretty dark place out there, and you can see that in the data with my heart rate spikes. And heart rate's something that I'll occasionally look at in a marathon just to kind of check in with my body. Sometimes, the energy of the crowd and the excitement, it's hard to really read how you're feeling, but it's good to kind of glance down and have that on the display screen. Really use it as a tool to govern yourself. I know what I can and can't get away with in a marathon, and for me, running in the heart rate in the mid 160s is like a pretty safe zone to be in, and I spent most of this race floating in there and averaged 163 with a couple spikes on the big bridges and hills. In the hardest parts of a marathon, like what motivates athletes is different for everyone. For me, it's just like I was so disappointed in myself post-Paris and thought that wasn't a reflection of who I was as an athlete, that I just wanted this to be closer to what I thought I was capable of. It didn't have to be perfect, but I wanted it to be like reflective of the caliber of athlete I am. And I think it was. I think, if I wanted to be a pessimist, I could look for a few things I could have done better. And if I wanted to be reflective and say, where did I lose seconds? Where did I lose places? I could find a few, but you know, you're always going to be able to. You're always going to be like, what if I didn't surge here? What if I tucked in better? What if I fueled differently? What if I, you know, did a couple things differently in the race? But it's a long race. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So you kind of have to instinctually navigate the race, knowing that there's going to be mistakes made and you're never going to run a perfect marathon. There's way too many steps to have every one of them be perfect. We all want those A+ days. Those happen very rarely, and that's what makes them so special. But I was like definitely one of the better days I've had out there. I was in great shape. I knew that. So I wanted to take advantage of it. I had moments where I had the self-doubt and where things felt tough, and I didn't know if I was going to have that day. But I was able to conquer a couple, you know, scary moments, you know, whether I lost touch of the group for a minute, surged back up to catch back up, or dealt with a side stitch early in the race, like little things like that, some cramping in my hamstrings in the last 5 miles. You know, execution to me in the marathon is about getting to the line, feeling like you're racing all the way in, not surviving. There's like a point in marathon running where if it goes bad, you're surviving the race, you're not competing in it anymore. And I think I competed for, you know, 23 to 24 of the miles of the race. Maybe there was a small lull there in the middle section of the last 10K, but I think I re-engaged when I hit Central Park and when I had the last mile and had some people in my eyesight on Central Park. I think it was a really well executed marathon. Not my best, but definitely one of my best. And I think that, you know, you just got to stack positive experiences and keep trying to figure things out. So